One of us has a brand new crossbow. The other one has new limbs on her old crossbow. Let's see how we make out in Maryland. Favorite tree stand. Careful not to let him know I'm up here with my crossbow named Bunjie. Its name is Bunjie.
My dad's been going hunting to Maryland for about a decade now, and this is my second year in a row going, so I'm really excited.
This is my 9th year going to Maryland, but it's the first year going there without Bunjie, without the original Bunjie, my Excalibur Axiom from 2010. Had a lot of great adventures down there, and now it's time to start a new chapter of Death by Bunjie with a new crossbow, Bunjie the Third.
The shot and put him down with Bunjie.
Down with Bunjie.
Today is gonna be the day. He's not gonna get away from Bunjie. Death by Bunjie.
Bunjie Jr. had a bit of a rough start to the hunting season this year. One of the limbs ended up breaking, but we got replacements. We replaced both limbs, and it seems to be doing really well, so this will be a neat test to see how it works. I'm not so much of a morning person. I like to hunt more in the afternoons, it seems like, but I'll make an exception for Maryland.
Genevieve, you gonna get up?
I was promised to sleep in today.
We got up really early. We got set up in the tree stand. We ended up spooking a deer when we shut the car door when we first arrived.
We walked in way before daylight. We were in the stands all set up an hour before legal shooting light.
I get all set up, I get my tree stand harness on, and I'm feeling pretty good about it.
I'm set up in a real familiar location, the corner of a nice little clearing. There's a corn pile ready to entice some unsuspecting deer to come in there. But also, the guide kind of went all out this year. There's a corn pile in the woods in front of me as well. I've shot quite a few deer in this setup, in this location, and it's one of my favorite spots when hunting in Maryland.
I'm in a similar situation to where I was last year. There's a corn pile about 17 yards in front of me, and off to my right, there's a really thick grove of pines. Super tall. Every time the wind blows, you can see them waving in the wind. About 10 minutes after legal shooting light started, I noticed that there's a couple deer at the corn pile.
Going into the season, we kind of had the plan that she's going to shoot whatever does she gets an opportunity to take a shot at because she needs more experience hunting with a crossbow. So does are a good way to build up that experience.
It's really dark, but I can tell that there are what I believe to be 2 deer at the pile and another one in the brush behind it, out of the way good. But I can't exactly tell if that's a doe or a buck or what. So I decided to shoot the biggest doe that's at the corn pile already. The Tacticams didn't do much in terms of video for this.
They're better than nothing, but the reality is when you're minutes after legal shooting light comes around, there's just not a lot of light there for those cameras.
I could totally see the deer through the scope.
Man, those knocks sure stand out. Those are the igniter knocks from New Fletch. I love those things.
The deer kicks with its back legs and runs off through the woods. It starts going off to my left and then hooks around over to the right, and I hear it crash.
I get word that she's now shot her first deer, and I'm like, I can't believe this.
I was so excited texting him because we didn't have much luck hunting in Pennsylvania. It was just a huge relief. I got here really early and it was too dark to film, but there was a couple of deer that walked again like last year right under my stand, and about 10 minutes in the shooting light, 3 does came into the corn pile, and I shot what I think was the biggest one, but one was behind the tree, so I couldn't see if that one was bigger. They were all out here in front of me here, and she ran off to the left at first, and she crossed up into there, and she crashed out in there. Not too far though, and it was about 20 seconds maybe after I shot. Actually, it probably was a lot less than that, but it felt like a long time. So I'd say we're off to a pretty good start in Maryland this year. So I wait a few minutes just to recollect myself after the shot, and I recock the crossbow just in case more deer come back to the pile.
Reload, maybe you get another shot. I mean, come on, give me a chance to shoot a deer, will you?
And a smaller doe fawn ends up coming back, but I give her a pass because she still has spots.
She's even smaller than the one I shot last year, so she gets a pass.
There's a ton of deer in Maryland apparently, because minutes after I shoot, the doe fawn comes back to the pile. But there's also a really big-bodied spike off to my right that I see walking back and forth through the pines.
This is the same spike that was here 20 minutes ago. He's got a real big body, but tiny little antlers.
Well, I hear this dog barking in the distance.
He was apparently taking a morning walk because he was barking the entire time.
And I'm thinking, man, you know, great, you've got a dog loose in the neighborhood running around, causing a ruckus. That's going to spook the deer. Well, I guess not, because before too long, I see 3 deer coming in. On one hand, I love having a corn pile out in front of me and another one behind me because I got multiple opportunities. The only problem here is I got 1 deer on a corn pile behind me, 1 deer out in front of me, and it's kind of hard to tell which one I'm going to be taking a shot at. Now, the one in front of me, much easier to get the crossbow on because I'm already seated looking out in that direction. The one over my left shoulder, I'm looking back there trying to make sure that it's not a buck, and I see that it's a nice big fat spike.
I guess Dad and I both had the same spike coming in.
Out in front of me, I've got a perfect shot at 20 yards with this doe coming over. One thing I'll say about bait, you can tell this deer, a little bit cautious of the corn piles. Does, especially in my experience, are a little wary of these things because they've been around when other deer have gotten shot over these corn piles. So they get a little bit of experience on that subject. They start to understand that there's a little bit of danger associated with it. I don't think that they fully understand it and they can make sense of the whole situation, but she definitely is aware that it's a little risky to be eating that corn. Bunjie the third and I, we're gonna take that shot.
Sorry, dear, I tried, but I had no luck. The cave lady tries to console him. She feeds him beers and nuts. He shakes his head and says there's something missing.
Oh yeah, and I can tell that she is slowing down fast as she's running. Her front end is actually giving out on her. She's ready to go down very, very soon, and I do hear her crash off in the distance. One thing I'll say about this crossbow, Bunjie the third, Bunjie 3.0, the shot at 20 yards was instantaneous. That shot is through the deer and buried in the ground on the other side before the deer has a chance to react, before I have a chance to react. That's a big step up, a big difference between the newer crossbow and the older, slower original one. Now here we are, our first day on our Maryland trip. We've already killed 2 deer. We're an hour into our trip, an hour into the first morning. We reload just in case other deer come by. I do have another visitor. It turns out it's the same spike who came back, and he's on that corn pile. Remember how the doe was really, really cautious on the corn pile? The spike, not so much. After a while, we kind of get thinking, well, we should get down and track these deer. It's been a couple of hours, and we don't want them to lay too long, obviously, even though it's in the 50s, 60 degrees, something like that. So we pack up our gear and get down. Now, I have to decock the Scorpid Deathstalker with a decocking arrow. Not a big deal. I carry a 5th arrow in my quiver, and it's just got a big thumper on the end of it, and it's a great arrow to use for decocking the crossbow. I take out my Deathstalker arrow and put that back in the quiver, and then I put the thumper arrow in there, the decocking arrow in, and I load that. And I actually had the camera on, the Tacticam on while I'm doing that. Do you see the doe in the background? I'm kind of embarrassed because I didn't even know that deer was there until I went back and looked at the footage. But nonetheless, I decocked the crossbow, and we head out to look for the deer that we've already shot.
My dad sends me a text that he also shot a doe. So he tells me to get out of the tree stand real quietly, to meet him back at the car, and then we're going to start the track.
Well, I'm heading back to the car. Bunjie the third, I think, just got its first white-tailed deer, and its first deer in Maryland in the first hour of the first day that we came down here to hunt. I had a heck of a morning. I've never seen anything like it. It is not like this all the time, that's fact. We got in here real early. Boy, I mean, getting up at 3:30 was pretty early for me. But we were in a tree stand an hour before legal shooting light. It really paid off because around the time of legal shooting light, I was just looking around. I was using the rangefinder. Just finally had enough light to use the rangefinder. It's real windy today. Had enough light to use the rangefinder. And I realized there was a doe and a fawn standing there looking at me. They made their way across the field, didn't come back. But then I had a perfect 20-yard shot. Took that shot. Felt real good about it. Bunjie the third. See if we can get this. How's this? Is that pretty good? Bunjie the third. Filming with my phone this year. I'm filming with my phone. We're entering the modern era. We have a modern crossbow, right? And I'm even doing this interview vertical, right? Not horizontal. No, I'm doing it vertical. We're doing it the way the kids do it these days, right? All the kids are doing it this way. This is TikTok style hunting. No danger of that here on Death by Bunjie, but I did get the video of that shot on my phone and on the Tacticams. Hats off to the Scorpid Deathstalker, huh? This thing was quiet enough. The deer out in the field knew something happened, but it wasn't like a bomb went off, like if I'd have been there with the OB, with Bunjie. Bunjie would have scared every deer in the area out of there. You'd be one and done, maybe. Maybe not. But this one was, a little bit quieter, and it certainly didn't spook them all out. They ran off eventually. But I even had another deer come in front of me when I was cocking the Scorpid, cocking up Bunjie the third here. So we are going to go look for some deer. How about you join us for that? But here's the best part. It's only 8:30 in the morning. Can you believe that? 8:30 in the morning on the first day. And we got 2 deer to go look for. How great is that? You think you made out okay?
Yeah. This isn't the one I shot, but I was just carrying one in case I saw somebody else.
Oh, you got to uncock now?
Well, no, but I was ready, just in case.
How your limbs holding up?
Pretty good. I think they got the job done.
Gonna find out.
Yeah. I was covered up in deer all morning. I couldn't really move because they're all over the place, and the corn pile's 17 yards. So I had to really time my movements just right for when the deer was looking around, looking away from me, and eventually got a shot in. Corn pile is right there, and she was facing to the left, and then she ran off to the left, and then she hooked around, and I couldn't see her anymore, but then I heard her crash into the pines not too far.
Arrow looks real good.
Yep.
Let's go.
All right.
Start tracking.
Broadhead opened up. Looks like.
Can't beat that.
Yeah.
Man, I hope we find her before it gets dark. It's like 8:30.
Yeah.
Did you have a little run-in with some briars, did you?
I grabbed my crossbow too.
That's a pretty picture. Look at the sun back there.
It is. Yeah.
Look at that. That's pretty. Ooh, oh, let's find your ear.
Okay. Oh, there she is. This is awesome. I got started to get scared there for a minute.
Ah.
Oh, that was a good shot. Oh, it's a spike. It was so dark, and I could not tell. That is the smallest spike I've ever seen. Oh, well, I love them.
Genevieve. Holy cow. What in the world do they have here? I don't think they got coyotes here.
I don't either.
Wow. That
I
eats.
saw a fox eating a roadkill deer on the way in.
Get your crossbow out of the way, roll that thing over. Let's see if that's been swack attacked.
Yeah, it's a one-inch entrance. So.
And that's the side, that would be your entrance wound?
Yep.
Roll it. Flip them over the other way. We're just looking at the other side here.
Yep.
That's your
That's
swacker.
mine.
That is a swacker.
Yeah, I think the broadhead opened. The insides are on the outside.
I don't think we'll ever know what did the damage to that deer. I've never in my years of hunting down there heard coyotes, even in the more wooded areas where we hunt. This is the eastern shore of Maryland, so it's across the Chesapeake Bay from the rest of Maryland, right? We did, later on in our trip, see a really big gray fox running through, and I wouldn't be surprised if this guy, if he was hungry enough, came across that deer and he would have put a good hurting on that rump. Maybe he's the culprit. It could also be that it's that dog that we heard barking on the road. I don't know.
Now it's time to go for a little bit of a walk and find Dad's deer.
You coming?
Yep.
This is my decocking arrow. I didn't shoot the deer with this.
I was gonna say.
Our guide has already located the deer.
We are off to a great start. And I already shot a buck.
So far, so good. Look at that, Genevieve.
That's a big deer.
Wow. Oh, wow. Look at that. That's a one. Look at that.
Oh, wow. We both got a deer on the first morning in Maryland.
Yes. Yes. We got, and it's so great too. Not just great because Genevieve and I each got deer, and that obviously is an awesome thing, and we're very, very excited because it's a great way. This is the first deer we saw.
Yeah.
This year.
Man, we look bad.
Finally got on the board here, so that's pretty cool. And we did it within minutes of each other.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And the other cool thing is Bunjie the Third gets its first deer. I get to shoot a big game animal with Bunjie the Third with the Scorpion Deathstalker. It performed exactly as I wanted it to.
He's a member of the Cool Kids Club now.
I think so. Bunjie Jr.
All the new limbs are working really well.
Yeah. Could you have asked for anything more?
No. Went perfect, really.
How'd your swahackers work?
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're a swag attack fan now?
I am fully convinced.
Are you still going to pronounce it wrong? I'm going to do more videos on both the Deathstalker 420, and I'm going to do more videos down the road about those swahackers. So make sure that you subscribe to Death by Bunjie. Until next time,
All hail Bunjie Jr.
and all hail Bunjie the Third.